Good morning, Miles. I was hoping you could help me out with something today. How do I integrate Capture Process Designer with Brainware?
Sure. Are you trying to integrate Brainware using Brainware for invoices, transcripts, or intelligent capture?
Intelligent Capture.
Sure, I can help out with that. Let me share my screen and I'll walk you through it.
Great, thanks, Miles.
So when you have OnBase integration for Brainware, you can use the Capture Process Designer to allow for Brainware integration. This allows the system to send images and import data from your Brainware solution. While this procedure is not hard to set up, it is important to note that the user account performing the Send to Brainware function needs to belong to a user group with the Create Revisions privilege. Without that set up properly, the user will be unable to check out the document or export it to Brainware. As mentioned previously, this process is created in OnBase Studio. From here, we select the Capture Process tab in the Repositories pane on the left. On the left-hand side here, we will need to open the Toolbox tab. And then we drag and drop the Brainware integration into our field. From here on, we're going to be focusing predominantly on the Properties tab here on the right-hand side. Let's start with this general pane. This pathway here in the Location field is the UNC path where OnBase will export images and where Brainware will import images. So I'm going to do that here and just use a test environment here, or a test location, excuse me. Down here is the more interesting part of this, though. Here is where we create our naming structure. A couple of things to note here. We must include the document ID. This has to happen or else Brainware will be unable to import the image and the image will not send. And this document ID must be the first thing. But beyond that, you can do pretty much whatever you want. You can see down here that the document page and page ID are part of the file structure. If you wanted to do something a little bit more custom, you would click static, and then let's just add my name here for whatever reason. And you can see that I've added that as part of the file name. If we need a delimiter, we add that here. And in this case, I'll just use the underscore option. So our current file structure is document ID number, page ID number, and then my name. We now have a Brainware integration status step made, but we now have to update the process so that it updates the metadata from Brainware Intelligent Capture. So down here at the bottom, we're going to click this Add Mapping button. Here we have the import settings of the Brainware integration. At the top, we need a mapping name, so I'm just going to put in test here. As for the polling location, this is a UNC path to the directory to which Brainware will export XML files. As a quick aside here, if you have multiple mappings for Brainware integration status steps in a custom capture process, your data capture server will return the XML files in the order of lowest to highest ID numbers. So if the same path is used for multiple mappings, this can result in erroneous mappings being applied to the XML files. As such, it is recommended to have separate UNC paths for each Brainware integration status step. So I'm just going to go browse, or you can type it in if you'd like. And I'm going to go to my demo folder here as the quote-unquote UNC path. And there we go. Select folder. Okay. If you are doing an integration for Brainware for invoices or transcripts, you would choose the respective options here. The process for doing these integrations are almost identical to what we will be doing here. Moving on, we select the generic option, which will automatically highlight the classification option here. If you want to update documents with extraction results for Brainware solution, you would, of course, select the extraction option. From here, I'll be clicking this load example file button, and selecting an example file, we will then click next here. This is a demo file, so it's going to pop up that message, but for you, it should work just fine. This page is called the generic classification screen, and we'll be seeing the screen layout a lot, so let's go over it here. Do note that, again, I'm using a demo XML file, so the boxes will be empty for me. The Brainware integration overview has a few helpful screenshots for this, so I highly recommend checking those out at the Brainware integration MRG. First on the left is the document types box. It's here you'll see each document type assigned to the scan queue. On the right would be all the XML nodes that are assigned to your XML file. Down here at the bottom, the wizard will automatically map document types with XML nodes, and those will be listed here. If any document types are unmapped, you would select the document type to be mapped and the node and click the link button here. This will automatically add it to the mapping list. All this is doing is telling the software what correlates with what so that the XML file can be read correctly and the information can be displayed properly. Do make sure that you map things correctly and accurately. When you're done, clicking next will bring up one of two screens. For us, it will proceed to the options screen, since we have selected the classification option. However, if you selected the extraction option on the import settings page, you will have the extractions mapping page. I'll go back and show that at the end. For now, let's look at the options screen. Here we have a few different options that we can select. Clicking Add XML Rendition will include a rendition of the XML file with a processed image. The XML file will be correspondent with the document type in the document set. To transition a document directly after Brainware intelligent capturing processing has been completed for that document, you would select Transition Document on Completion. And if you need verification reports to be generated for the intelligent capture process itself, you would select Generate Verification Reports. I would also determine if the XML results will be saved once the Brainware processing is complete. If so, you would then want to put in a shared UNC path to the directory. If not, then you could just click Delete Results, Clicking next here will finally bring us to the summary page. Here you can look at all the settings you have made and confirm that they are correct. Clicking Finish will create the mappings. With that, you complete the rest of the capture process by configuring any other status steps or evaluators as needed. For now though, let's go back and see what happens when you select the extraction option on the import settings page. So once we've selected the extraction option on the import settings page, and then done our generic classification, we find ourselves on a new page called the extraction mappings page. On this page, normally, you would see each doc type that has been mapped to an XML node, and it will be displayed along with a total number of mapped keyword types and Brainware XML fields. One thing to note is that you will not be able to return to the generic classification page or the import setting page after you double-click a document type row here. So make sure all settings and options on those pages have been done correctly before double-clicking on a document type row. Like before, you could attempt to load in an example XML file on this page, and if you do, the results will be loaded into the wizard, and it will attempt to automatically map the results. If we click Next here, it would normally take us to a familiar page where we have keyword types and XML nodes to be mapped together. On that page, you will then want to click Next Mapping if it's available. If it's not available, then click Next Document Type. In both cases, the pages will be the same layout, just mapping different things. Eventually, you will come back to the extraction mapping page. Here, you can repeat the process for any keyword instance, groups, and Brainware XML nodes. If you are done though, just click Next, and you'll be back to the options page. And we've already gone over all the options on here, and that's all there really is to it.
Thanks for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. If you have a question that you would like answered on an upcoming question corner, please leave a comment below.